Today we go over Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil. And this is a very, very interesting book. I find it very perplexing in certain facets, and I agree with it in certain points, but the overall basis, like it's vehemently opposed to most of the stuff I believe. So it's very, very interesting to read this. And if you are someone who doesn't question your faith, if you're somebody who, knows that there's a God, like I really suggest picking up a book like this because it's through understanding the other perspective, it's through understanding the other person's critiques that we can strengthen our own faith, that we can strengthen our own, morality and all of these other things. And I mean, it's simply interesting for the fact of Nietzsche's entire basis for the book is, are our morals really good? Are our morals really, righteous? Or is it just a sliding scale? Like, is what we do today, will it be seen as, evil in the future? And that's his overall point. Like, it's a sliding scale. It's not good or evil. There's actions that are clearly good, but there is a hint of bad in them, and there are actions that are clearly bad, but they have some sort of justification for it. And when we can kind of understand from this perspective, we can see that most of our black and white, doctrines, most of the things that people believe are kind of hypocritical, kind of just not seeing the whole picture. And Nietzsche does a really good job of critiquing, old philosophy, schools of thought, and particularly he focuses a lot on God and the church, and he really questions a lot of the beliefs of Christianity. And it's really hard to come up with a non-hacky argument against God. It's really hard to just say, oh, nothing matters, this, and this. Like, you kind of sound like a loser when you do that. You kind of sound like, wow, this person's not fun to hang out with. And I'm not saying Nietzsche he probably wasn't fun to hang out with because he's so depressing, but at the very least he gives a strong argument for, not really blindly following, not really accepting the values that you've been told to believe in. And it's a very, very interesting book for the fact of, I've never thought this way. I've never really, begun to address these kind of issues. So I can't really give as good of a take on this book because I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, a lot of the things are just new ideas to me. And I really want to tell you to read a book like this because it's challenging ourselves with things we're not comfortable with, things that we are not aware of, things that we are not accustomed to, which bring the most growth. And I think reading this book for me was a real step in the right direction because I'm so much into the esoteric, I'm so much into the metaphysics and all of that kind of stuff where, I'm getting to the point where mysticism is my favorite thing to read. And it's nice to read something grounded. It's nice to read something from a different perspective that kind of puts everyone else into a category in my mind. Like, before I read this book, I didn't think it was possible for an atheist to make a good argument, but now I really do. Now I really do think that there are some misconceptions that we hold in our minds that really hold us back and really stunt our growth. And I mean, the great thing about Nietzsche is he's always preaching individualism. He's always preaching that when people get in groups, this is where people get, kind of lost. People kind of lose their sense of purpose and lose their sense of self. And the further we get into society, the further we get into systems, the further we, take religion away from the individual and put it into an institution, the further we get away from the real message. So at the very least, we can take that away from the book. And if you plan on reading this book, I can't wait for you to get to page 38. I don't know when the page will be for you, but I'll read some of the phrases. This is chapter 4, apothegms and interludes. I'll read some of them just because they're very, very interesting. But it's a bunch of different lines. Most of the book is bigger works, but these ones are very, very interesting to me. We all feign ourselves that we are simpler than we are. We thus relax ourselves away from our fellows. Sympathy for all would be harshness and tyranny for thee, my good neighbor. It is terrible to die of thirst at sea. It is necessary that you should so salt your truth that it will no longer quench thirst. These lines are very, very interesting, and that's the issue I have with this book is Nietzsche's so insightful, but he doesn't offer any solutions. He just complains about things. And I think it's one thing to be a critic. I think it's one thing to poke holes in the argument, but if you're not offering a solution, then what are you really doing aside from complaining? And this is one of the only times I've ever sought background information on an author, because I'm just confused as to why he's writing this. But from what it seems to me, Nietzsche was somebody that never really understood his place in the world. He never really understood his purpose, and maybe ultimately we can see him as a critic of old ideas and the way we've interpreted certain ideas and how we've kind of gone wrong along the way. And that's really what I'm taking away from this work. And it's really a shame, because Nietzsche had such a great mind, and had he used it maybe in a better way, maybe he wouldn't have been so like, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but like in despair. Like that's really what it reads to me as. It reads to me as someone that's unhappy, someone that is so concerned with the things he doesn't like that he can't find anything that he does like. Like there's not a single positive word in this book. And it's really weird to me, because for the last like 3-4 months, I've just only been focusing on positive thoughts, trying to, get myself in the right mindset, trying to establish myself in the right frame of mind to really blow up this channel. But like, it's so weird to me to read books like this. And I don't know, I think I have to read more Nietzsche to really understand him more. But it's overall interesting, and it's a good book. So I really think you should pick it up just for the fact of it's a different perspective. And if we can learn different perspectives from great minds, that's how we expand our realities. That's how we expand our perspectives. And I'll give you a little hint. If you can expand your perspective to the other person in the room, the other person in the argument, the other person in the relationship, that is a key way to get along. That is a key way to, in some way, understand where they're coming from. Understand that, you know what, maybe this person doesn't see it my way, but I should see it their way, because maybe their perspective is just as valid as mine. And it's through exposing ourselves to different ideas that we can really expand our consciousness, expand the way that we approach situations and approach life. And overall, it's just interesting. It has a lot of great ideas in it, but it doesn't take them far enough. I don't think it doesn't offer any solution. It just says, this is wrong. Oh, you shouldn't believe this. Oh, this philosophy is stupid because it contradicts itself. And it's like, if you think something's stupid, then give me your solution. Give me something that works for you. Give me your better solution, because we can all sit here and complain about the world. We can all sit here and say, woe is me, the world sucks. But like, nothing gets done. Nothing is accomplished aside from you complaining if you don't offer the solution. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I missed out. Maybe I didn't perceive it right. But from my perspective, it doesn't seem like it was a complete work. I think maybe I have to read more Nietzsche. Maybe I have to read different books. Maybe this was just a criticism book and he offers solutions and other things. But yeah, pick up this book. I think it's an interesting read. I think you'll gain a lot of insight from it, and you'll also be perplexed as to some of the things he brings forward. And it'll really get you thinking, and that's any book that can get you thinking is a good book to read in my mind. And even if it's not thinking good thoughts, it's at least giving you a different perspective. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you want to stay around on the channel. Love all you guys. Thank you guys all so much for the support. It's been crazy to see all of the kind words, all of the positivity. It's really just been awesome. And if you want more from me, go ahead, join my Discord, or I have a paid community where I'm going over different sets of ideas, different philosophies, different beliefs, and how we can apply them into our own lives. Because it's one thing to read these books, but it's another thing to apply the knowledge. There's a difference between intelligence and wisdom. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom, and that is, anybody can have knowledge. Anybody can know when certain things happen, when certain wars happen, when this or this psychological, whatever, psychological experience, psychological phenomena. Everyone can, cite certain people, but it's the people that can use this knowledge to their benefit. It's the people that can use this knowledge to drive forward themselves and drive forward humanity, who really leave their mark on this world. And the wisdom only can come through reflection. It can only come through, introspection and looking at, I know this, but how does this affect me? how can I apply this into my life to better my relationships, to better myself, to better my mindset, to better the thoughts I have on a daily basis, so that I can continue with this momentum. I could continue going forward, and I can continue with the path of light and the path of righteousness that I'm pursuing. So consider joining that. I'm going to up the price very, very soon as I get more and more stuff in there. But right now, I just want to build that out. So consider that. All the links will be in the description. Thank you so much. Yeah, pick up this book. Love you guys. Peace out.